Interestingly, both Storrier and Amor were very well known for their paintings, drawings, prints. In both cases, they have a long career behind them of producing pictorial work. They've occasionally had forays into sculpture, but those forays in recent years have become much more ambitious. And in Storrier's case, we are delighted to be able to present the most elaborate and the most ambitious sculpture that I think he's produced, a large 2-metre-high bronze called the Wayfarer. It's actually called the Histrionic Wayfarer, after Bosch, the after Bosch in brackets. And that's the same title that Storrier's painting, which won the Archibald Prize in 2012, had. And in fact, if you look at the painting and the sculpture, they're very similar. You see this striding figure, and there's a pile of things on his back, including debris and detritus and all those terms that Storrier loves to use. And the accoutrements of an artist, a canvas, notepaper, there's a banana, there's a funnel, there's his dog, there's all this stuff. And Storrier's been in a kind of odd position since he won the Archibald, that he's been obliged to, or he's been asked, he's been the subject of interviews from various people. Well, tell me, Mr. Storrier, what is this painting about? And so Storrier has to now sit there and recite, well, it's about the weight of pretensions, and so that's quite a nicely ironical from Storrier. But Storrier, like a lot of artists, is a little uneasy about describing his own work. He'd probably rather not have to do it, and he'd probably really like to have the work do its own work, describe itself, describing the undescribable. And that's the purpose of art often, is to describe things that are, undescribable. They describe it in a visual way, and we then make our associations with it. Storrier, like Boyd, Whiteley, and many of the artists who we deal with in Australia, has influences from overseas art, and he's a keen observer and student of international art, and he's made it quite clear with this sculpture that Hieronymus Bosch is the subject of his attention, and the painting called The Wayfarer, or The Pilgrim, it's one of those Renaissance paintings where the actual meaning have become lost in, obscured by 500 years, is that there's a direct relationship. You can see that the figure is striding forward in the same pose that Storrier uses, but the Bosch painting is intended to be indicative of that moment in all of our lives, which occurs sometimes once, sometimes it occurs all the time, where we are obliged to make a choice between good and bad, positive and negative, evil and good. Very richly kind of autobiographical and complicated sculpture, and a fascinating work of art for us to have in our auction.